I mean, it's my bad. My phone died.
The stirs make you glance. Grab your hats, y'all. HI's going live on YouTube. Where the truth fly. With the boots on the ground, a cam in her hand. HI's patrolling this great land. Through city streets and back road dust. She's watching the watchers in her we trust. Streaming live from dawn to night. She's the voice of justice, the beacon of light. HI standing tall and proud. Country heart, her voice ain't loud. Tune in on YouTube, see her stance. She's telling the stories that make you glance. Under the neon lights or the setting sun, HI's work is never done. From the sheriff's misdeeds to the city patrol, her lens is sharp, she's on a roll. Investigating truths with a country flair. On YouTube, you'll find it there. So hit that subscribe, ring the bell for more. HI's got stories galore. On YouTube's trail, she rides ahead. Champion of the free, just like she said.
Windows are busted out.
Welcome in, everybody. It is that time of the week. It's Naughty Corner Tuesdays. Yeah. What's up, everybody?
Nice. You did well. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
All right, did you check out the list that we got?
I did. I glanced at it a little bit. Yeah. Interesting.
You go watch any of that trash?
No, because then it wouldn't be a full reaction from
Yeah. I got you. We actually got distracted backstage watching some dude build a raft house. So we have no preparation. We just sat there and stared at it. It was like,
yeah.
Pretty much. All right, so we're starting with 10 weird, hilarious, and embarrassing police standoffs. But that'll be after we finish with chat.
I'm on the big TV this time. Yeah.
Go, girl. That's the way we do it around here. We give them the big TV.
Right. So you can say that first one because I'll chop it up.
What's the first one? Zephyr Lavoxel? Yeah.
There you go. You get the gold. We got
girl.
Scotty Waddles with the silver.
Damn right.
And then Dennis Bigfoot with the bronze.
Yeah, he pulled in just now. He popped in just now to pick up the bronze, like in the last second before we went live. So we got Carpenter's Journey over here. Good to see you, bud.
Brooke, welcome in. Runsky, much love, girl.
Absolutely. See, that's where it ends. So at this point,
that's so pathetic, right? No, it's just funny.
You sure?
Yes.
You need a second with yourself? You want me to?
Oh, no.
Okay. All right.
Whether I have 3 people or 100 people or no people, I'm still going to do it.
Just with you. Like me and you could sit backstage and do exactly the same shit we're doing right here. And it's not that far off the mark. What's up, Crazy Dingo?
Right. Crazy Dingo. Dango. I don't know.
Welcome back to.
All right, did you hear that? Did that make noises?
It did.
Oh, cool.
I heard it.
These things are actually functional. That's pretty cool. That doesn't usually happen quite so much like that. So what we're doing tonight is I've got a handful of videos over here. Some of them are like AI assembled.
Hold on. We have a interruption. We're gonna have somebody say goodnight real quick. Hold on. Come here. Oh. Look. Say hi. Say goodnight. Yay. with her messy hair. Alrighty. Night night. Okay.
I think we should just do it this way through the rest of the show.
No, like
Just
that's
fine.
too big.
You're literally the face of the channel.
No, that's too
Never
much.
too big. She's never said that before. Things women never said. I think it says more about me than it does about anyone else.
Odd occasions, the channel where we explore the weird, the wild, and the downright bizarre. Today, we're diving into some of the most hilariously embarrassing police standoffs ever recorded, from cardboard
Welcome in,
cutouts
Eggsy,
to sleepy suspects.
Queen
These moments
Kaylin.
prove that even in tense situations, things don't always go according to plan. So sit back, relax, and let's jump into the top 10 strangest police standoffs that will leave you scratching your head and laughing out loud. Number 10, SWAT engages empty apartment in a 6-hour standoff.
Dear God, I hope this happened in Florida.
Why?
Come on, if it happens anywhere else, you're just going to laugh harder.
Oh man, I don't know.
I mean, it's a hilarious waste of public funds. This is
What,
your
SWAT?
literal, yeah.
Oh, for
Just
sure.
when they do a standoff for 6 hours on an apartment that's empty, it's not even a good training op.
Oh, okay. So I was like, what? All right. I got it now. A little slow.
I have no issue. Look, I understand the way you make your training where you
So they
can.
did a 6-hour op and found out it was empty. Is that what
Yeah,
you're
there's
saying?
nobody there. They've been on a standoff with literally
Nobody.
the Christmas past. Like fucking Tim Little
In
over here.
2014, Dallas police
Oh,
officers
Dallas, that makes so
after a
much
woman
sense.
reported that several armed men had
Dallas.
beaten and sexually assaulted her inside an apartment. This marked the beginning of a standoff that would last for 6 hours. SWAT officers arrived at the scene, fully geared up. They approached the suspects, requesting they surrender. One officer even yelled out, "Do what is right. We are not going to disappear." Tensions were rising. A police department spokesperson assured the media they were making every effort to work towards a peaceful resolution.
What?
How?
Make that make sense.
How? You're going to have to explain this to me, sir. How did you make effort towards an empty location where there was no response? That after not getting responses, after about 20 minutes, I'm going to go knock on the door. I'm a little ballsy like that.
Right.
If this guy
Well,
knows he's in a standoff, he's probably going to respond.
welcome in, Ben T, Oklahoma, Friends in Code.
It's going so fast.
But the suspects showed no signs of surrender. No movement, no response, nothing. For 6 hours, officers stood their ground, waiting. But finally, after hours of
I got to think about it. Hold on. So no sight of anything whatsoever. There must have been a fan on in that place that had the blinds riffling or some shit. There has to be an explanation.
silence and growing frustration, SWAT officers made the decision. It was time to move in. They broke down the door, ready for action, only to find that the apartment was completely empty. Yup, they had spent 6 hours pleading with an unoccupied apartment. It seems the apartment itself didn't have much to say. And there you have it.
That is exactly
Oh my
point.
God.
is-
Are you serious?
That is exactly my point, sir. Knock on the door at least once, damn it. Like, and if you don't get a response, maybe knock again.
Right.
Get in touch
Catlin,
with the
welcome
police
in.
owner.
Right.
Was there not a landlord or something you could talk to? Was there no way of determining whether or not an individual existed in this space?
Right. I mean, movement, something that would make them stay there, right? Was there any sign of life in there? I mean,
That's not the impression I get. It was an unleashed space, but we shall see.
that is crazy.
The standoff with a very innocent, quiet suspect. We reached out to the apartment for comment, but unfortunately, we're still waiting for a response. Number 9. Cops brawl during drug raid. Now, this
All right, if I remember right, this is, if you remember the FBI, ATF, Homeland Security Spider-Man meme, where they were all pointing at each
Oh,
other. You know?
yeah.
So a while back, there was this sting that was run on a group of people who were dealing drugs, which turned out to be a Homeland Security op that was looking for people who were buying drugs. That happened to be a group of ATF that were trying to use drugs as an entry to finding guns. And they all ended up trying to arrest each other and literally ended up in a fist fight over who had jurisdiction.
Right.
This one is straight out of a comedy of errors. On November 9th, 2017, a narcotics raid in Detroit turned into an all-out brawl, but not with the suspects. No, this fight between two different groups of police officers from the same department. Here's what happened. Two
This is a
undercover
totally different
teams
one.
from the Detroit Police Department, one from the 12th Precinct and the other from the 11th,
Welcome in,
both
L.
conducted
Kennedy.
raids at the exact
Firm,
same
what's up?
location, but neither team knew the other was there. Officers from the 12th Precinct were the first to arrive, taking positions outside the house. A little later, officers from the 11th Precinct rolled up, spotting two undercover officers from the 12th standing on the doorstep. But here's the twist. They mistook them for drug dealers. Immediately, the 11th Precinct officers ordered the 12th Precinct officers to the ground. One officer even pulled his gun, thinking he was about to make a big bust. What followed was nothing short of chaos. The officers from the 12th Precinct weren't going to just surrender to who they thought were civilians with guns. No, sir. They
Oh,
resisted
my Lord.
hard, and then the punches started flying. Both sides began freely exchanging blows, fully
Ohio Steve, welcome in.
What's up, brother?
That's crazy.
it
It reminds me of that movie. Dang.
You're gonna have
What
to
it's
get a little
called.
bit more specific about
Where the whole family is on the NYPD, you know, and then like a couple of the brothers go the high, you know what I mean, like the good way, and then a couple of them are corrupted, but they have that bot trade, you know, where two. Anyway, okay,
the big
what's
bus.
that? Yeah,
Good too.
Ozzy Nathan.
Is that L. Kennedy Eskimo?
Satachi, right? I don't know. I call him Zat, but dang it,
Are you
I always
speaking English, madam?
butcher it. How do you say it?
Oh, Zatuichi. Yeah, Zatuichi.
Zatuichi.
Yeah.
Did I say it right or
Austin
no?
Nathan,
I
did you
said
see
Zatuichi.
Zatuichi?
I don't know what it said.
It is a sword, madam.
I know, but I know that. I just don't know how to pronounce
It's hidden inside a walking stick.
it.
And if you're
Like,
really
four. What's that for? Four.
Yep.
believing they were fighting dangerous criminals. It wasn't until mid-brawl that someone finally realized they were all on the same side. Thankfully, nobody discharged their weapons.
All right, here's what happened. So one of the guys managed to get one of the other guys on the ground and in some cuffs and pulled his wallet out and found the ID, right?
Right.
He found that badge sitting there on that wallet, and he turns, looks at the guy next to him and says, "Stop." Shows him his badge and his own badge, and then suddenly everybody's like, all right, now it's a fight over jurisdiction. Somebody's going to jail today, damn it.
But think about it. All that chaos happens as they're going in or as they're about to raid. Like, I wonder what happened on the other side of the door, right? Why they were all brawling. You know what I mean? Like, what did the real drug dealers do?
Just watch it through the peephole.
I mean, were they able to dispose of evidence?
Listen, talking to your dealer, going, "Sir, I think they're going to goddamn get me. They're about to fucking bust in my door." But now they're fighting each other. But yeah, no, the big guy just threw the little guy on the ground, screaming for them to put their hands up.
I mean,
we'll shoot. But they're both saying the same thing. There's one kicking somebody saying, "Stop resisting."
Toe for life, my love.
But fists? Oh, those definitely flew. In the end, this accidental battle royale led to some disciplinary actions.
I
Since
sure
the
would
raid
hope
took
so.
place in the 11th Precinct's jurisdiction, a supervisor from the 20th Precinct was reprimanded for failing to notify the other team. Detroit Police Chief James Craig
I'm not sure how
called
much
it,
longer I'm going to be able to deal
one of
with
the
this
most
AI.
disappointing things he'd ever
It's not that
experienced
bad.
in his 40
We've
years.
had worse.
Yes,
Got
ma'am.
a rough
All right.
day.
You
Number
got me
8.
there.
SWAT engages cardboard cutout in a 3-hour standoff. This-
What? Shut the.
All right. All right.
What?
No, I can see this happening. Officer safety being tantamount. The gentleman standing in the window. We've asked him to come out. We've knocked on the door. We've done everything we can do. The man just
It's
won't
a
move.
cardboard cutout.
It's a cardboard.
Shut up. Shut up.
Next one is something straight out of a sitcom. It was a
Oh
quiet
my
evening in
God.
Somerset County, New Jersey, November 2008.
I wonder if it's actually got a gun like on the cord cutout. I
Oh
wonder if it's
my Lord. Yeah, that would definitely cause
marquee or
a
something,
scene.
right? You can just barely see it through the window.
All
Somebody
I can think of is Home Alone. Like.
High Plains Drifter had an excellent marquee. It was not John Wayne, Dirty Harry. What was his name?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
My dad is going to beat me if he sees this. I'm drawing a blank on one of the greatest Western actors the top world has ever seen. He played Dirty Harry. Go ahead, Buck. Make my day.
8. Around 8:40 p.m., an alarm goes off at
Clint
a
Eastwood?
Eastwood, yes.
no one saw coming.
I think I'm going to have to retire. Obviously, I've got some kind of mental deterioration going on. I may have to just start drinking every day. Jesus, that was painful. I could see him. I saw every fucking movie that man's ever been in. I've heard every line of dialogue he's ever written or said.
Was
I've
that
read
the tip of your
2 of
tongue?
his unpublished freaking plays or screenings or whatever you call it when they fucking have a movie, but the movie wasn't made. Scripts. That's the ticket.
30 police officers were dispatched, all responding to what they believed to be a bank robbery in progress. When they arrived, there was still a suspect inside the bank. From outside, the officers could see through the windows. There was a silhouette. It looked about 5 feet tall, around 152 centimeters.
So not
Okay,
just
so wait. How did they get the call, or how were they involved? How did they get a call? Yeah, back it up a little bit. Sorry.
Saw coming. 30 police officers were dispatched, all responding to what they believed to be a bank robbery in progress. When they arrived, there was still a suspect inside the bank. From outside, the officers could see through the windows. There was a silhouette. It looked about 5 feet tall, around 152 centimeters. The blinds were drawn, and it seemed like the perfect setup for a classic standoff. The officers sprang into action. Using loudspeakers and telephones, they tried to engage the suspect, pleading for a response, but their adversary completely silent. This back and forth.
all right. So yeah, and I want to be clear about this.
Wait.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Wait.
this is one flaw in the right to remain silent.
That one was pretty cool.
Well, we
That was
yelled at
pretty
him.
good.
Now what? What's he doing? Nothing.
But like, where did
That's a
the
shit show.
what's up, AC?
Right?
How did the call? I mean, how?
They used a megaphone and yelled at him, and maybe they knocked on a door, and maybe they yelled at him some more, but he didn't do anything, and so they continued to see
But I'm saying where? I don't know.
things like
I
this
need
are
more
what cause shit like Ruby Ridge and fucking Waco.
context.
Same thing.
Forth, or rather this one-sided
Welcome in,
conversation
Chili Dog.
dragged on for 3 hours.
Chili
After
dog
an
all
hour
night.
of waiting and getting nowhere, the SWAT team finally made their move. They broke into the bank, weapons drawn, prepared for anything, and then they found the culprit. It wasn't a hard-end criminal. It wasn't even a person. No, their suspect was just a cardboard cutout. That's right. 3 hours of tense negotiation with a piece.
For the
Yeah.
AI loan officer that they stood up there the day before, right? They just went to the stock footage department.
I don't
of
get it.
PR
I don't
people.
get it.
I'm telling you, that right to remain silent's got to go, dude.
No,
It's
3
totally against
hours,
your
no
safety,
movement. Come on. First of
right?
all, 3 hours, no movement. Second of
Yeah.
all,
No,
okay,
he's a very patient man.
whoever called and was it they saw a silhouette in the bank after hours? Is that, I mean, like, how, I don't know.
I'm
That
gonna
makes no sense.
blame. All right, so like I said, you take your training where you can get it, and so you do things by the book, by protocol, every single time, so that when you have a real event, it goes off without a hitch because you followed protocol. The problem with that is whenever the other side doesn't play into your game, it just breaks because
Because
he
there
has
is
the right
no
to remain
other
silent.
side.
Yeah. And so I want you to look at what happens when you
See
decide
Home
to
Alone.
exercise your right to remain silent
No.
or don't exist. They just come in with like dogs and guns and helicopters and machines. They just hit harder. So, be careful with that Fifth Amendment. It's one of those that they really don't like.
Piece of cardboard. A police spokeswoman later explained that anything can set off a bank alarm. Animals, balloons, even weather. But in this case, no one was to blame for triggering the alarm. As for the cardboard cutout, it didn't seem to raise any complaints, just quietly stood there the whole time.
Oh,
Nice.
so
Number
there
7.
wasn't an alarm.
Police engaged.
No, they just, I don't know, maybe someone called or something. I don't know
Well,
what to
they
tell you.
just, didn't they just say the alarm? That's why they
Maybe.
called.
I don't know. They
Come on,
just
man.
were called there. They were there. For some reason, it doesn't specify. We backed up to the beginning and listened to it again. Remember?
Right, and they just said that the alarm went off, and that's why
Okay,
they.
I'll agree to.
Let's digress.
Age stuffed tiger in a standoff. This one's a roaring good time, pun intended. It was February 2018 in Aberdeenshire, Scotland. Bruce Grubb, a farmer, was hosting a housewarming party when he noticed something terrifying in his cow shed. There, in the dim light, stood what appeared to be a fully grown tiger. Grubb under.
All right. So the information we have so far, we have a Scottish fellow who doesn't expect a tiger in his shed. He calls the police, says, "Oi, mate, I've got a tiger in my shed." That doesn't fly. They're not going to show up for that. There's no way you're sober. You're Scottish.
Wait a minute. That's not a Scottish accent that you just did.
Yeah, I can't do a Scottish accent. No. Thank
That
you
was
for pointing
more.
that out. I'm now very self-aware.
No, you're not.
Choose with it. You kind of
I didn't phase you. Anyway.
shut up. Victim. I thought we were having the victim Olympics. Why did we end it just as soon as I got good at it? Damn you, Trump.
Understandably freaked out, shined his flashlight at the creature to make sure he wasn't imagining things. But no, there it was, staring back at him. A real tiger, or so he thought. Worried for his cows and for himself, Grubb immediately called the police, even sending them a photo of the intruder. When officers arrived,
Well, you know why that photo got sent, right?
Why?
Because they did not believe him. He called, told him he had a tiger in his shed. They laughed, had a big giggle about it, and hung up on him. And he called back, was like, "Come on, man. Like, I need some help." And he's like, "No, dude, just go to bed, sleep it off. You'll be fine. Stop doing the mushrooms or whatever." And they hung up on him again. And so he's like, "Dude, what's your cell phone number?" He emailed him a fucking picture of a tiger in his fucking shed. And they were like, "Not fertilized." And he probably took a minute because at least 3 of the guys immediately stood up when I've got to see this shit.
Oh my god. Cat is like, is it Ernie Shells? And I'm sure you don't know who that is, but that shit's hilarious. Well, she put ES, but I had just put it out there. Oh my god.
And spoken.
arrived on the scene, the situation escalated. One officer, seeing the tiger in the distance, was too scared to leave his patrol car, More police units.
No, that's actually a tiger, dude. No, what are you doing getting out of the car? We don't even have guns. We're in Great Britain, dude. I've got this fucking baton. What is he going to do? Pick his teeth with it after he finishes eating my face? No, I'm not getting out. You unlock this rifle right now.
Oh my goodness.
No, by the way, I'm not saying it's likely that there would be a tiger involved in something in America, but this is exactly why we have guns. Just one of the many, many reasons.
Right.
Because if there happens to be a tiger in your shed, you don't necessarily have to call the cops except for the new paperwork. It's like, hey, there used to be a tiger in my shed. Come check it out. That's a whole different conversation from dude. Come get the fucking living tiger out of my shed. What? No, dude, go to bed, sleep it off.
Units were quickly called in for backup. What followed was a 45-minute standoff between the officers and the tiger. The situation got so serious that they even contacted a local wildlife park to ask if any of their tigers had gone missing. But after nearly an hour, something wasn't adding up. The tiger hadn't moved, not even a twitch. Grubb decided to
Hold
take a
on.
closer look.
Did you see that?
What
the fuck is this up here? What is that? What the hell is
that?
that?
Another tiger?
No,
Or
it's like I think it's supposed to be a round hay bale, but the AI fucked it
like
up
a
hard. Like this
maybe.
looks like a round hay bale with a crow leaned against it. It's really weird. The AI really screwed the pooch on this particular picture because that is a bundle of hay that looks a lot like a tiger. And this is obviously a fucking tiger. These
Okay,
are
so maybe I missed it. So he sent a picture right before they went out there?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah,
Okay.
they didn't. I'm sure they didn't take him seriously until they saw a picture of a tiger in a fucking shed.
Right, but I'm wondering what this picture, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, Mossberg moment. Ben T gets it. That's exactly what this is. A Mossberg moment. Might have to get that officer's ID and shit because we're gonna have to file a complaint on that first one that hung up on me, motherfucker.
right.
Yeah, I do drink sometimes, but I ain't never called this place saying there was a tiger in my shed before. Why you take me seriously?
Up. The tiger hadn't moved, not even a twitch. Grubb decided to take a closer look. Driving his truck toward the shed, he finally got a clear view of the dangerous predator. Turns out, the tiger was nothing more than a life-size plush toy. That's right, the whole time.
But think about it, dude. Like, if you saw a 7.5 foot long plush tiger of realistic dimensions and shape, would you approach to find out whether or not it's a plushie? I'd have put 2 bullets in that bitch before I did another thing.
But I mean, obviously that had to come from somewhere. I mean, I don't see somebody
did
doing that as
Yeah,
a prank.
somebody did it.
No.
Let me tell you something now. And all right, Sasquatch moment here. All right. So I went to school with a bunch of smart asses, and one of these guys owned a herd of cows. And one night, a group of the guys decided that they wanted to mess with him, and so they went out, and some of the cows they shaved in stripes. Don't ask me how they accomplished this because I can only imagine. But one cow they shaved in stripes. Another cow they did like checker pattern on. How they got the cows to stand still, I have no idea. But somebody painted tiger stripes on one of the cows, and they did a real good job of it too. And one of the cows got painted in zebra stripes. And so for about 2 months there, you could go by my buddy's house and see the checkerboard cow standing out there with his sunburn. He had a tiger in a pen because whoever did it was a fairly decent artist.
Right.
Wild.
The police had been staring down a stuffed animal. Who left it there? No one knows. But one thing's for sure. It sure made for one memorable standoff. Ironically, the police department later adopted a plush carnivore as their mascot. Number 6. Police in standoff with a stormtrooper.
Did you hear about this one? I heard about
No.
this one. I read about this one somewhere.
Hey,
Basically,
Gregory.
basically, homie thinks it's a dude hiding in the back seat or some shit, right? And so they try to get him to get out, but they never do approach the car because they're certain that he's fucking dangerous because he's wearing combat armor.
Oh my gosh.
In February 2019, California Highway Patrol officers found themselves in a high-speed pursuit with a Ford.
Bounce. Thanks a lot for proving just how ugly and immature you are. It's been real. And just so you know, I don't really care about your problems.
Give somebody somewhere some money. People put forth effort for things like this.
The chase was intense, speeds climbing, sirens blaring. But then, the driver exited the highway and veered into a residential neighborhood. It seemed like the chase was coming to an end when the car finally stopped. The driver and one passenger jumped out and made a run for it. But there was still one more figure in the back seat. The officers, weapons drawn, aimed at the vehicle and shouted commands. "Step out of the car," they ordered. But the backseat passenger, not a single response.
That right to remain silent's got to go, bro. It is just terrorizing officers everywhere.
I mean, what if that happened and it was a person? You know what I mean?
What if
Like,
he was deaf?
what?
What if he was deaf? Going to a LARP. His buddies
Oh,
didn't
well,
get
I mean,
their
we've
check
seen
cashed
what
or
has
some shit.
happened. I
Probably
mean,
get shot 700 times. Never know what happened.
mhm.
Right? Decoy backseat passenger. Yeah, I'm just going to blame the guy in the back. It wasn't me. It was the one-armed man. What's up, big player? Good to see you, bud.
Not even a flinch. One officer yelled out, "I know you're in the car," but still nothing. The standoff went on for several tense moments. Finally, the officers cautiously approached the vehicle, ready for anything. And then they understood. The passenger wasn't ignoring them. It was a life-size stormtrooper doll from the Star Wars collection, sitting there, motionless. That's right, all that tension over a plastic trooper.
Okay, but I got to give them credit. At least they didn't shoot the guys like the dude with the poor fucking acorn.
Right?
He
And
mag dumped.
yes, yes.
He
And
did a
Rumsky,
that roll and screamed, "I'm hit."
I didn't have a fake body, but what I did was I had big teddy bears and I took a big old teddy bear and I put a sheet over it and then made a noose and hung those. So that was pretty cool.
This is what a psychopath looks like.
I'm not a psychopath. Let's talk
Stormtroopers
about
already.
Halloween.
Harry James gets the participation trophy of the night. Stormtroopers aren't even dangerous. Can't hit anything.
From a galaxy far, far away. Eventually, the human driver and passenger were apprehended. But the stormtrooper? Well, let's just say he wasn't putting up a fight. Number 5. Standoff ends after robot snatches suspect's rifle. In September 2016, deputies from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department found themselves in an intense, hours-long standoff with a murder suspect named Brock Ray Bunge. Bunge had already attempted 2 robberies and was linked to a previous murder attempt. When deputies closed in, he fled, disappearing into the desert. A police helicopter.
Does that robot have a knife? Is he mugging this? What's fixing to happen here? I don't like this scene. I feel like violations are going to take place imminently through robot teleconnection.
That's the future right there, buddy.
They're just going to rape you in the middle of a field with a bunch of guys with guns and helicopters and police.
I mean,
Oh my God, that looks horrible. Am I the only one?
probation.
Helicopter eventually spotted him, hiding behind a bed on a raised berm, surrounded by shrubs and a wire fence. Ground officers couldn't get a clear view, and Bung wasn't responding to demands to surrender. The standoff stretched on for 6 hours. Finally, law enforcement decided to bring in some high-tech assistance, a $300,000 bomb disposal robot equipped with a camera and a robotic arm. Its mission, not to attack, but to quietly get close enough to retrieve Bunge's rifle. As the robot approached, law enforcement noticed something crucial. Bunge was lying face down with his gun at his.
You realize what they're fixing to tell you, right?
Yeah, he was dead.
Dead as Dillinger. Yes, sir. One shot to the head, self-inflicted.
Feet. The problem? The robot wasn't exactly silent. Bunge could have easily heard it coming. So, the authorities devised a plan. They flew a helicopter directly overhead, creating
Oh my
enough
God.
noise to mask the robot's approach. At the same time,
up.
officers yelled.
All right, hold on. You remember what I said? Where I remember you find your training where you can.
Right.
You got all these toys, but nobody knows what they're doing. So you have to get everybody together and teach them how to use all their toys, right?
Yeah.
And you have to do that when the most convenient opportunities, which is like anytime you get a bullshit call, you fall out and you roll in 9 deep so that everybody gets a little bit of experience doing this stuff. It does look dumb as hell whenever you come across a situation like that, but that right to remain silent, it's a real stickler, you know? It's like
yelled through loudspeakers, adding to the chaos. Meanwhile, the robot inched closer and closer, and then it reached out with its arm and snatched the rifle right from under Bunge's nose.
Welcome in.
Incredibly, Bunge didn't notice a thing. It wasn't until the robot returned to lift the wire fence for a better view that Bunge realized something was wrong. He reached for his gun, and it was gone. With no weapon left, and completely out.
Homie was alive? What kind of gate was he on, bro? He was on one.
That's what they said, was he was alive?
He said he was asleep. That's impossible, dude. That's impossible. That's impossible.
Reached for his gun, and it snatched the rifle right from under Bunge's nose. Incredibly, Bunge didn't notice a thing. It wasn't until the robot returned to lift the wire fence for a better view that Bunge realized something was wrong. He reached for his gun, and it was gone. With no weapon left and completely outmaneuvered, Bunge finally gave up.
And this is why you take your training where you can. I'm sorry, I'd get shot by one of these fruits because I'd be like, "Oh, there's nobody in there."
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't have a whole lot of patience for idiots.
I mean, right, with no sign of life, or that's just
Gonna get that robot from the backside.
Number 4, sleeping during standoffs. In December 2014, law enforcement officers were dispatched to a home in Whitecourt, Alberta, Canada, after receiving a call from a concerned citizen. The complaint? A 41.
Concerned citizens around the world, I beseech you to stop calling the cops. At least rethink it once before you pick up the receiver. The life you saved may be your neighbor's.
Year-old man, drunk and making serious threats to shoot someone. Upon arriving, police discovered the situation was even more delicate. The house contained a child and 4 other people. Tensions rose.
Oh no. People exist. Police department, we have a problem. What's the problem? People exist.
dun dun dun.
My stars and bars.
And a 7-hour standoff ensued. But then something unexpected happened. One of the hostages calmly walked out of the house and told officers he fell asleep. Just like that, the standoff came to an end without a single shot
That's
fired.
Canadian standoff for you, though. He probably apologized as soon as he woke up. I'm sorry, eh?
What? What?
The only case.
I have no idea what kind of ist that is, but I'm pretty sure it's some sort of ist.
Standoffs ending in snooze mode. In March 2016, in Newark, Ohio, police found themselves in another bizarre standoff, this time with a 75-year-old man who had fired shots at his own bed and walls.
All right, we got shots fired, ladies and gentlemen. We finally found a real one.
All right. Hmm.
At his home. Despite repeated demands for him to surrender, the man didn't respond. It turns out he was partially deaf, but that wasn't the only reason.
Well,
After
I mean,
hours of
I hate to be that guy, but if you let off a couple of rounds of a 38 inside of an apartment, you'd be partially fucking deaf too. That's
Right.
serious, bro. It's rough outside, but when you got it like inside a room, and don't ask me how I know this, but when it's inside a room, it's like a million times louder. Your ears just do that. Everything goes white and goes wee. That's it.
waiting, police heard the sound of snoring coming from inside. That's right. The man had fallen asleep during the standoff. Officers sent in a surveillance device, located him sleeping in his bed, and moved in to peacefully resolve the situation. They woke him up right at his bedside. The charges: creating fear and wielding weapons while under the influence. A reminder that sometimes, even in a standoff, a good nap can bring things to a close. Number 3, standoff ends.
I've been telling my children that for years. Like, you need a nap now. Like, go. These little bastards running around like fruitcakes. Does your kid ever, like, right before they go to sleep, do that just getting into absolutely everything, like just knocking everything over? It's like 5 minutes before they go to sleep, and you're watching them, you're knowing that they're running out of gas. Like any second now, they're just gonna flop over and blink, blink, blang, 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 meh, jumping up and down, kicking Legos, just generally pitching a fit, and then suddenly they're falling over.
Justice, we call her the drunk baby, because usually like 30 minutes before bedtime, she just becomes like really
She starts just stumbling around.
Yeah. When she's fighting it.
Might want to move that bedtime up 15 minutes. Does she fight it once you put her into bed?
Not if I let her, you know what I mean, get to that point.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I got you.
Right.
So you want to go to bed?
Right. Exactly. So exactly.
Right. Weapons.
Negotiator sings Christmas song for suspect. It was the holiday season of 2018 in Spring City, Pennsylvania, and Nathaniel R. Lewis, a 34-year-old man going through a tough divorce, was about to bring an unexpected twist to the Christmas spirit. After a series of personal struggles, Lewis barricaded himself inside his home and fired shots, which led his sister-in-law, concerned for his safety, to call the police. The situation escalated the next morning. When law enforcement arrived...
Wait a second. Anybody else catch that part?
No, I didn't.
No? I'll play it again for you.
Okay.
Shots, which led his sister-in-law, concerned for his safety, to call the police. The situation escalated the next morning.
What?
What's the problem with this sentence?
The next morning.
Right. They're like, they got a phone call. It was like, there's somebody over here shooting. They're like, okay, we'll be along directly. Is that a phone? What's up, Brandon? It went by the next morning. Oh, that's not good, sir. Oh, Lord.
When law enforcement arrived, Lewis responded with more gunfire. Officers returned fire, and a tense standoff began. For hours, SWAT negotiators tried to convince Lewis to surrender peacefully, but he wasn't having it. Until Lewis made a surprising offer. He said he would surrender if the negotiator would sing White Christmas by Nat King Cole. Now,
does he have hostages? No?
No.
He's just in there alone by himself.
Yep.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. Why not?
Why not?
I might have to sit and listen to Nat King Cole a couple of times before I try this, but
now, That's not exactly standard protocol in hostage negotiations, but the negotiator agreed.
Why are y'all having war in chat? Why?
I don't know. I don't know.
Can't we all just get along, man? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Why
You
can't
sure?
we be friends? Why can't
I
we?
can.
Oh my god. This is so weird.
Best eyebrows in the business. Why are y'all warring? I don't understand. I just don't get
It's
it.
not more. It's just fun. Just playing.
I don't get it. Why would you play? I mean, if you just happen to have, name
Oh
that
my God.
cringe state.
Right?
Agreed. After 10 tense hours, the song began. And to everyone's relief, it worked. The negotiator's rendition of White Christmas finally convinced Lewis to give himself
Hold on.
just like Paul.
What?
Oh, that was pretty good. I'll come out. Right? Oh, yeah. I'm dreaming of a... Yeah, we'll do it.
He promised. The standoff ended peacefully, leaving everyone involved with a truly unforgettable holiday memory. It's not every day a SWAT negotiator sings Christmas classic
Right,
to
James?
resolve a standoff.
I want at least 2 full rounds of all around the mulberry bush.
Hey, if it works, it works. Number 2, disappearing suspect. On May the 1st, 2019, a bizarre standoff unfolded in Aloha, Oregon. Miguel.
All right, ain't Oregon the place where they decriminalized all the drugs?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
All right, just checking.
Almares Estrada, a 21-year-old local, fired a shot at the tire of a parked vehicle and then quickly retreated to his apartment.
Hold on. Was it his vehicle?
I don't know.
Because I'll tell you a story. I know a guy who shot his own truck in a bank parking lot, and the cops came and picked him up, took him downtown, dropped all the charges, and brought him back to his truck where he had it towed away and scrapped. He shot it with a 44 Magnum right through the engine block and then sat down on the curb and waited for the cops to show up. He was done in 45 minutes or so. Like he'd already called some tow truck to come get it. He was just done with that truck, I guess. I don't know. He's a very final sort of guy.
Yeah.
He's critical sometimes. I don't piss him off myself. I just, he thinks I'm funny, so I'm lucky that way, I guess.
Officers responded, evacuating the area and setting up a roadblock. They tried everything: phone calls, SWAT, and negotiations. But not a single response from Estrada. Hours passed, and still nothing. Finally, SWAT moved in. They used a crowbar to force open the apartment door and launched a flashbang inside, expecting a confrontation. But when they entered, Estrada wasn't there. Turns out, he'd slipped away before the police even arrived. Hours later, he peacefully surrendered himself to authorities, leaving them to wonder how he'd managed to vanish so easily. But that wasn't the...
So another SWAT on an empty house because he was gone before the cops got there. What's up, Joko? Hey, I heard a lot about you today from American Uncensored.
Well, if they start finding out the facts, they might actually learn something. And that's disturbing. I don't like it when people learn on the internet. Flat earthers. And people who believe in space travel.
Yes, I saw that they were going to end it. Yep. They reversed it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, certain things shouldn't be legal. And I'm not the type of person who believes that like laws should be written just out of hand. But like cocaine's a hell of a drug. I'm not sure that should be legal. It does amazing things to people like you would not believe. Methamphetamines, hell of a drug. Does unbelievable things to people. You
Mhm.
know, heroin has no legitimate use that I could think of, except perhaps when you reach a point of hospice, right? Like, I'm not saying drugs good. I'm saying drugs bad. Okay.
Okay.
And some of the strains of weed I've come across, I would classify now as drugs because shit debilitating. I'd be sitting there looking at a hamburger going, how am I supposed to eat this whole thing? And then it's gone and I don't know who got it.
Mm.
The only case of a suspect pulling a disappearing act in 2019. Just a month earlier, in April, another suspect managed to slip away during a police standoff, this time in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Police arrived on the scene and immediately noticed a ladder leaning against a building, leading up to a window.
You're right.
Inside, they spotted a man peering out. The standoff began. Officers used loudspeakers, distraction devices, and even chemical agents to try and force the suspect out of the house. But after hours of negotiation and waiting, the house remained silent. When the police finally forced their way inside, they were met with a...
All right.
That makes me think of that saying, I don't do drugs. I just light trees on fire and inhale.
I had an infected tooth for years, like that didn't show up on an x-ray because it was up against my sinus. And so every time I did cocaine, I would get a splitting freaking headache. Like it was the abscess that I couldn't feel otherwise. When the rest of it went numb, that was all I could feel. And so I'd immediately, it was as soon as the numb hit, massive headache.
I couldn't do it. As soon as the numb hit, like I would gag. Like,
Right.
you
Oh,
know?
that's just terrible.
That's like, when
Mm.
never mind. That might be a different episode.
I probably shouldn't continue my sentence either.
surprise. The house was completely empty. It seemed the suspect had escaped unnoticed. Right.
Now, I get what you're saying, Lou, but if what they want to do is come steal the copper out of my garage and smoke more meth, I'm sorry. I'm going to riddle them with holes, bro. It's my copper. If I'm going to smoke meth, it's going to be my meth.
Right.
Anybody stripping my house, it better be me.
It under their noses. Two suspects.
No, I can't
two
stand
disappearing
that
acts.
gag.
Well, I'm aroused.
No. Yeah.
Oh,
I could never be a porn star. I couldn't do it.
no, you could do it. Just
No, I couldn't
press
do
charges.
it. For several reasons, I couldn't do it.
No, just don't press charges. That's all you got to do.
If you choke me during sex and it ain't no good, I'm calling the motherfucking cops, okay?
Amen, sister. I need to be quicker on the draw with that. Damn.
In two standoffs where the
I
only
saw that
thing
coming.
left-
I saw that coming. I saw the look on your face when you thought of that, and I missed the button the first time.
the house. Number 1, murderer goes shopping during police standoff. In March 2018, Michael R. Reynolds, a 36-year-old man, barricaded himself inside a home in Terre Haute, Indiana. Refusing to surrender, he kicked off a standoff with law enforcement that would last for 2 days. But here's where it gets unbelievable. 12 hours into the standoff, Reynolds somehow managed to sneak out of the house. And what did he do with his newfound freedom? He went shopping. A neighbor even saw Reynolds leave, but didn't report it to the authorities. So
That man, a real G.
Yeah. I
He
mean,
thugging. He living that life. He bout that life. Whoa.
police continued their siege, completely unaware that their suspect had already left. Where did Reynolds go? Walmart. There, he casually
That
made
makes
several
sense.
purchases, including a mobile phone. After his little shopping spree, Reynolds
Homie bought a
oh
burner.
my God.
Hey, no, man, they got my ass. They're surrounded the house right now. Well, no, I ran down to Walmart to grab this phone and sneak back in a little while.
That's crazy. Like, for real.
Yeah, I mean, he's a killer, so chances are he's not stable.
You think?
Well, I mean, whether you became unstable and killed someone or killed
Your
someone,
Honor, I
and
wasn't even
unstable.
home.
Your Honor,
Reynolds didn't go far. He slipped into another.
you got a future in
Just
this
3 blocks
organization,
away.
sir. I
It
like the way
wasn't
you
until
think.
Walmart employees reported seeing Reynolds in the store that police realized their suspect had gone for a quick shopping trip. And by the time the authorities caught up with
What
him,
the fuck was that?
the situation
That was like.
That was that gag you did again.
reported seeing Reynolds in the store that police realized their suspect had gone for a quick shopping trip. And by the time the authorities caught up with him at the second,
Look, you sounded like one of those fucking goats.
had gone for a quick shopping trip. And by the time the authorities caught up with him at the second,
Oh my god.
Oh my god! I'll stop. Okay, all right.
the situation escalated, ending in a deadly confrontation. So, while the police were locked in a standoff with an empty house, Reynolds was busy running errands. Well, that wraps up today's episode of
Motherfucking excellent. That was crazy. All right. What do you know? What do you know of ancient weapons? Like, if you had to pick like some ancient weapons from ancient history, what would be your favorites? Like,
Anything that would kill?
well, that's about 85% of stuff mankind produced in the Stone
Well,
Age. So
I
you
mean-
got a glut of choice.
I don't know.
Personally, I always like the atlatl and the throwing darts. Right? It's like
The what?
atlatl. It's like a stick that
atlatl?
yes, it's an atlatl.
Ad-
Uh-huh. Yeah, it was really going to blow your mind when I show you a salamander and tell you it's an axolotl.
Axolotl? Axolotl?
Yeah, don't hurt yourself, kid. Anyway, I like atlatl with the throwing darts, right?
An
Because
atlatl.
yeah,
Atlatl.
atlatl. Yeah.
Atlatl. Okay.
I'm sorry if it offends you.
No, it just sounds funny, and I was having a hard
Anyway.
time saying it.
So, if you want to go biblical, one of the greatest weapons in prehistory of man was the jawbone of an ass. Wasn't it Samson that fought off the Israelites with the jawbone of an ass? He fought off an whole fucking army with it. Last of the Mohicans, the 1996 feature, I believe. The guy utilized a weapon that was actually in the shape of a moose's shoulder.
Mm.
That's why it's such a weird looking weapon is apparently at some point in time in Mohican history, somebody used a moose leg to fuck some shit up. Can't imagine it, but it kind of probably went about like Jesus with the money lenders and the oxtail.
Mhm.
That's kind of how I picture it in my head, though. You know? Biblical.
Biblical.
So we've got some really disturbing weapons that are purportedly Native American, although some of them I think may have been hoaxes.
Have you ever wondered what
There he
secrets
was,
lie
with the jawbone of an
behind
ass.
the genius and unsettling weapons of Native American warriors? Hidden in the annals of history are tools of survival and warfare so innovative you've probably never heard of them. From devices that could bring down birds mid-flight to blades that instilled awe in early
Unalive
explorers,
10,000, that's
these
right.
weapons showcase unparalleled craftsmanship and resilience. Join us as we delve into these
But
remarkable creations.
I can't remember what army it was, though. I think it was the Israelites, but I guess it may have been Canaanites. And it's Samson.
Samsonite? What? No.
Oh, Samson. I'm sorry.
The last one might just redefine what you thought you knew about ancient armaments. Number 1, gunstock club. Imagine wielding a weapon that not only delivers devastating blows, but also turns the invaders' symbols
Yeah,
of power
that's the one.
against them. Enter the gunstock club. A fierce
That thing is nightmarish, dude. Could you imagine seeing some redskin run out the woods, swiping one of those things at your scalp? Bro, hey, hold on. You bring down a bird mid-flight. Is that why you rode a motorcycle? Too fast? to escape your own gas
Oh,
mid-flight.
that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Participation award.
Yeah, we're gonna give you one of them meaningless trophies.
They're not meaningless.
War crafted by
I
Native
mean-
American warriors that you've probably never heard of. Shaped strikingly like the stock of a European musket, this club wasn't just built for combat. It was designed to send a chilling message across the battlefield. Originating in the late 17th century
Oh wow.
and gaining prominence among tribes like the Lakota by the mid-19th century, the Gunstock Club's true genesis remains a captivating mystery. Some historians believe that indigenous craftsmen were inspired by the muskets of British, French,
The story I was told was that there was a great warrior of a particular nation up in the Algonquin region, one of their nations, and he defended his village, which had been they were at war with another tribe, and they knew they were being hunted, and so he had placed his village in a very defendable location up on some rocks. And homie stood up there for a couple of weeks and fought people off until he broke all of his weapons and took up the upper leg bone of a moose or deer or elk or something of that ilk, and continued beating these people away from attacking his stuff until the rest of the tribe could come and run them off. But and that's the story I heard. But what do I know? I'm just some white dude in Georgia.
Welcome
colonial
in, Desert
troops,
Goat.
seeing how these firearms, once emptied of bullets, were flipped and used as blunt force weapons. By mimicking the shape of these muskets,
Bro, I think the barrel itself would be a more effective club.
Yeah.
Just the raw metal of the barrel. You cut that thing off by about 2 foot and just wear somebody out with that son of a bitch, dude. Crown of King.
native warriors could invoke the same fear and awe that firearms held, without ever firing a shot.
Was the Philistines.
Theories
You're
abound.
correct.
Could it be
Samsonites.
that the Gunstock Club was an independent innovation, a product of indigenous ingenuity rather than imitation? Regardless of its origins, this weapon was a masterpiece of both form and function, carved from robust.
And like I said, if you want to see a really good representation of one of these things done well, the Last of the Mohicans, I believe the mid-90s version, the third or fourth one in the stack of them. Not the old black and white one, but the one in the late 80s, mid-90s.
Hardwoods like maple, ash, or oak, and often decorated with intricate geometric patterns, animal motifs, or clan symbols. Each club was
Philistine.
unique to its wielder. Some even embedded blades of flint, horn, or iron near the
ATL, what's up?
Yeah, why don't you love me
adding
no
a
more?
lethal edge to its crushing power.
Talk to me about what?
The angular
I ain't
design wasn't just for show.
I ain't going nowhere. ATL. Not going nowhere. Right here. Right here.
Okay, now that that's settled.
It allowed for both slashing and thrusting attacks, making it a versatile tool in close quarters combat. Beyond the battlefield,
Lawless
the
world.
Gunstock Club
In
stood
a
as
world
a
where
status symbol.
Lawless TV joins.
The most elaborately adorned clubs were reserved for esteemed chiefs and warriors, serving as a testament to their prowess and position within the.
You ever hear the story of the last war chief?
Zombie. Zombie. Zombie.
I
Sorry.
would yeet Lawless, but I've just gotten my voice back, and I think a good
Yeah, yeet.
redneck yeet would probably end it all. Cranberries,
Yeet.
yeah. Do you know the story of the last war chief?
No.
All right. So homie, I think, did it in like World War II or Korea, right?
Mhm.
And he had to send the evidence of all the things that he had done in combat back to his council and have them vote on whether or not. I'm pretty sure he got a Medal of Honor too. I mean, he was a badass. I'll go dig up the video on that. I think the fat electrician did a excellent coverage on that guy.
Yeah.
The tribe. So, what makes the Gunstock Club particularly fascinating? It's a symbol of adaptation and psychological warfare, a way for Native American warriors to turn the tide against technologically superior foes
I don't see it.
by transforming their enemies' advantages into their own.
How's that?
It's a chapter in history that showcases resilience and creativity in the
I'm
face.
sorry. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just saying you're just as damn shot. Yeah, okay, you stole my buddy's rifle and you came back swinging it. I'm still going to shoot you, which is why they're on reservations, frankly. I mean, they conquered this land when they came here. So, like, I don't want to hear it. Everybody's been conquered. Everyone's been slaves. Everyone's enslaved everyone else. This is history we're talking about here. Forever.
Ever.
And ever. Yes, like straight from the Sandlot. Ever.
Forever.
Forever.
Face of encroaching forces. Number 2, Tomahawk. Picture yourself navigating the dense forests of.
I'm a paleontologist. It's Deary Off the Wall. It's this thing over here because I like it. I'm gonna play it right now.
You know about cars? Yes, I'm a paleontologist.
Oh, it's okay. There's dynamite in this bag too. I am a paleontologist.
I'm a paleontologist.
Paleontologists study really old stuff.
Like crackers.
Because bad movies are funny.
That's Deary Off the Wall. Yeah. I tried to get them to come on and do a Sasquatch Shield show. Like they all used to have YouTube channels. And apparently me going and messing with the channels like notified them that the channel still existed. A couple of them got took down. Nice.
Early America, where every shadow holds a secret and survival hinges on the tools you carry. Among these, one weapon stands out, not just for its utility, but for its profound cultural significance: the tomahawk. Ever wondered how a simple axe could shape the destiny of nations and become a symbol of both warfare and peace? The tomahawk was more than a mere tool.
All right, yeah, I
It
got
was
you,
an
bro.
ingenious
Tomahawks are
extension,
cool.
balanced
I like
word,
them.
were from stone, bone, or deer
War
antler,
Club.
honing
Looking
them
for
to
the War
securely a weapon, both sturdy. The arrival of
got one of
Europeans
those.
came
Hold
new, but the story, hating a weapon,
Right there.
both sturdy and effective.
I got one of them. Looks fucking just like it. It's in there somewhere.
But the story doesn't end there. With the arrival of Europeans,
All right, I
came
want to
new
talk about the
materials
atomic bus.
and ideas.
Yeah.
I'm going with the weapons.
Yeah.
And we're basically going over just knives, flint. Like I said, I think a few of these might actually be hoaxes. Some of the more there's this specifically. There's this batch of
Gasoline.
supposedly I can't remember the name of the tribe. It's supposed to be a particular tribe in northern Mexico, so like the border region of Texas, Arizona, Mexico, that area, right? And they were found by the same group of people in 3 consecutive years, which is why I think it's a hoax. But they're called, I think, erratic eccentrics because they are extremely complicated lithic structures. These things are wild. How do you feel about buses?
I like buses.
Have you ever been on a long bus trip?
Yes. When I went to Louisiana.
And how long was that?
7 hours, 8 hours, something like that.
I've never done it, but I can't imagine it. It just seemed. I went on a 3-hour plane flight.
Right.
I've never been on the longest bus trip I ever went on was on a school bus, and I don't think that counts.
No.
It's not the same, right?
No, I mean, not really.
Right. So,
Oh yeah, let's look at our polls
oh,
because you
you
our
gonna get on a
polls.
poll for me? Let's make it big. You like big polls,
Yeah.
right?
So I had the same question you did, except I just had yes and no. I didn't know you had a third one. And 56% said yes, they would get on it on the bus.
Right. Okay. I got yes 52%, no 23%, and three eyes and flipper kids for 23%. Yeah, well, I might be a bit of a clown. Clowns are scary. All right, so public transportation has been an issue since the dawn of freaking mankind. There were cabs in ancient Rome. They had the hansom in early 19th century Britain was your most common. You had a very similar thing in India, China. About the only place that didn't use a hansom at some point in time or another
31
was America. We kind of skipped it and went straight to the gas powered buggy, horses and buggies, man. So public transportation is an interesting concept. We don't
Mhm.
do trains like Britain did. It would be expensive, but
That's what yes, right, Kat? Yes.
yeah, the idea of a luxury transport that can take you from New York to LA in 27 hours, but the time doesn't matter because you're basically living in a mobile hotel and it drives over a normal road. Nothing special. No updates, upgrades, none of that. No automatic driving, just a endless bus. Goes there, comes back, goes there, comes back.
I mean, nuclear, powered.
Okay, all right. Well, let's see what they have to say about it.
Petrol-powered buses, diesel buses, electric buses. But how about a nuclear-powered bus with a bowling alley, swimming pool, and can change its own tires at 55 miles per hour?
Hell yeah.
Yes, such a bus exists. Sort of.
Sort of.
This is the story of the Coyote Cyclops 180, possibly the most craziest bus ever conceived.
All right. So there's a couple of issues with putting a nuclear reactor on a bus. Very similar to the issues of putting a nuclear reactor on a train. The issues are size. If you're using that size of nuclear reactor, chances are it's a breeder reactor, and that means you're going to end up with some very, very volatile things when you're done. Now, if you can arrange to have something done, like, I don't know, taken to another nuclear reactor, because you're basically creating fuel for other reactors. A breeder reactor is kind of dirty. It's like a fast and easy way to do nuclear, but it's small and it's compact. It's small enough you maybe could fit one on a bus if you were clever, right? But dear Lord, if that thing ever wrecked, the place it wrecked would be just wrecked.
A hole.
No, it wouldn't blow up. That's the dangerous part. It
Oh.
would do a Chernobyl type effect, right? Where you end up with this super irradiated elephant's foot sitting out in the desert next to a highway that's been condemned and will never be used again, just sitting there. Because to this day, to my understanding, the robots and shit we've developed don't have the ability to maintain their cohesiveness and their programming as they get close to such a heavy irradiated lump. The elephant's foot is still melting, bro. Sorry.
Hi.
If you can say what?
Now,
What?
I told you that there was once a
We did a what to who?
Oh, no, Firm said if I can say that. If not, remove it, please. Remove what? YouTube
YouTube may have already
obviously
got it.
didn't let it go. I don't know.
Apparently not. No. StreamYard didn't do it either. So
Yeah, it's not in street. I know, but the only comment before was like, yeah, it didn't show.
Yeah, it's not in streaming.
YouTube got it. Yeah. Yeah.
That shit
YouTube
got
got
filtered before it ever got here. Whatever. Sorry, bro. Chill out.
What's up, Tommy D?
Tommy D. What up, baby? How you
I
doing?
can see it. Wow. Well, now I want to know. Text me what the comment was, Firm. You got my number. I want to know now.
Call me.
The bus that was 110 feet long was powered by a small nuclear reactor and had a swimming pool, a bowling alley, lounges,
So,
restaurants.
yes, on the
staterooms.
swimming pool.
You would tell me that I'm kind of nuts.
Yes.
Well, actually, a bus like that once really did exist. Now, back in 1976, Paramount Pictures released the comedy movie The Big Bus, and I have the DVD of it right
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
Now,
I've got a
while
copy of
the
that.
movie was of great interest
And
to
how old is
those
that?
who liked buses.
Oh,
The movie turned out
70.
He said 76. Is that what he said? I don't know.
Oh, no. It was not the 90s at all.
DVD of it right here. Movie The Big Bus, 76.
76.
Paramount Pictures released the comedy movie The Big Bus, and I have the DVD of it right here. Now, while the movie was of great interest to those who liked buses, the movie turned out to be a big box office flop at the time. Now, over the years, its artistic value has been reconsidered, and it's now thought of as a much better movie than it was back then. Now, in this video, I'm
All
not.
right.
OJ Simpson was in it. What?
What did we do? Where?
Oh, no.
OJ Simpson was in. Yeah. No, wait. No, that's Airplane. Wasn't it?
Did anyone see Parade of Planets? No.
Oh, now I'm wondering if OJ Simpson was in The Big Bus.
I don't know.
I may have to watch The Big Bus to find out.
Not going to talk about the plot line or the
You have to share-
storyline or the
share screen.
actors or the
I pressed the
characters
button,
that they
man.
played.
Like-
I'm only going to talk about one thing, and that's actually
What's
the
up,
main
America
character of the
Uncensored?
movie, which was
What's
the bus.
up? Welcome,
And
welcome.
the bus was called the Coyote Cyclops 180 because it's a really fascinating story on
Yeah,
how this
blue unicorn on a
story, how
phone. It sucks. Vertical sucks.
We got to play it a really annoying.
But the
guitar.
naughty corner is, we have changes coming. So,
Yeah, she's going to fire me.
no, I'm
was
not.
built, how it operated.
I'm just going to take more
I don't think
control.
anyone has ever done a
Well, I'm aroused.
Y'all watch
Listen
some
to me,
weird
Daddy.
movies?
Yeah.
video on that aspect of the movie. So let's get started in learning about the Coyote
Let's get
Cyclops
started.
180 bus from the movie The Big Bus. The 1970s, a time when disaster-themed movies ruled, with productions such as The Towering Inferno, Earthquake, and The Poseidon Adventure. Yet there was one other movie which was a spoof of all other disaster movies of the time, and its main star was a bus. Yes, that's right, a bus. But it wasn't just any bus. This was the
Can you
1976
see? I mean,
Studios
it's hard for us to see those
Big
people.
Bus. Its main
Yeah, it's
star was
ridiculous.
Cyclops, a 110-foot long behemoth with 32 wheels and propelled by a miniature nuclear reactor. It was, in its own way, the ultimate in luxury and power, unseen anywhere on the road before or since. As
That
this
thing
would be,
couldn't drive
course,
on the
AI,
road.
a real bus
All right. So when they were putting together the concepts for it, it was decided that it would do a run from there would be one leg that goes from Los Angeles to Denver and another leg that goes from Denver to New York. And the idea was to have 4 or 5 of them, which would, a whole fleet of them, which would make it worthwhile to build a dedicated roadway.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so these roadways would be straighter than your average American highway, flatter, more like train tracks so that you could do a bunch of them. And it'd be really, really, really cheap. And once you get it operational, it's just maintenance expenses.
Mm-hmm.
had to be built for this epic production. So, how was it accomplished? David Sandmeyer of the now long-defunct Bus World magazine traveled to Paramount Pictures to get the scoop on the Coyote Cyclops 180 and then published an article on the experience.
I gotta get my phone. Hold on.
According to Sandmeyer, Paramount sent the order for the bus down to the construction and special effects teams. But there was one problem. Nobody had any idea how to build a 110-foot-long bus. Motor Coach Industries and Eagle were the big names in U.S. coach manufacturing back then, but they had no clue on how to build something on the scale demanded by Paramount. In a classic move of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what worked and what didn't, the production team figured out a vague, untried plan. They would acquire 2 international semis and build 2 55-foot bus bodies on top of them. The truck buses could then be driven to a filming location separately and then latched together to create the 110-foot monster desired by Paramount. It has been said.
So if I'm understanding this right, while they didn't actually build an atomic bus, they built the superstructure of such a thing as envisioned by the people that were trying to plan some shit like this. Bowling alley. How do you do a bowling alley on a bus? That throws the whole concept of bowling off. Never mind the swimming pool. I feel like that's just a danger waiting to happen. That's lawsuits, baby.
I mean, they have like the little swimming pools and spas and limos and stuff. So, I mean, putting it in a bus.
Yes, everything is bigger in Texas.
The 1940s era Kaiser Superbus may have been the inspiration for Cyclops. Believe it or not, there were no technical drawings or concept renderings from Paramount's art department to work with. So the idea was to just make it up as they went along with the special effects and construction teams led by Gail Brown and Lee Bass, respectively. The team plowed through 12-hour workdays, 7 days a week, cutting and welding metal, painting and experimenting with axles, drivetrains, and chassis until they landed on something they liked. The end result was basically created through trial and error. Now, let's take a look at some of the basic specifications.
All right, here we go. This is the part I wanted to see.
Cyclops 180
That is crazy.
were actually real. Number 1, length is 110 feet, divided into 2 articulated sections. Number 2, width is 10 feet 6 inches. Number 3, height at its highest point is 18 feet 4 inches. Number 4, weight is 75 tons. Number 5, capacity is 100.
Was that a picture of it hanging off a cliff or something?
Oh yeah, it's in the movie. Yeah.
Oh,
It's very, very, yeah, it's very, 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 it's dramatic.
Crunch, crunch, crunch.
Number 6, there are 32 wheels, of which 8 are driving and not including spares. Number 7 is powered by a scaled-down Type A4W pressurized.
That just looks scary.
Reactor, similar.
That's a breeder. The reason these things are useful, really, is other than the heat extractor, the heat exchanged water, it doesn't really exchange any radioactive anything with the environment that it's in. And when you're done, you can just unplug that breeder reactor and plug in another one and just haul the whole reactor off somewhere else to go make into whatever types of bombs the U.S. government are using nowadays. Pretty much. That's why we don't use breeder reactors. There's only one use for the byproduct.
Similar to those used on a U.S. Navy Nimitz-class aircraft carrier and generating nearly 3,000 power.
O.J. Simpson was not.
Tires and wash its own windows. Number 9 has a bowling alley, swimming pool, restaurants, and lounges for the ultimate passenger experience in bus travel. And last,
all right. So let's say let's say hypothetically, right? Greyhound builds a fleet of atomic buses. The prices for tickets are the same as they are today. It takes you whatever amount of time longer to go by bus rather than go by plane, but you get a room to yourself, an open bar, a swimming pool, and there's only 180 other people in that 110 feet plus crew.
I mean,
$99.
if I
You
have
go-
nothing but time, why not, right?
You know, it's cheaper for old people to live full time on a cruise ship than it is to get proper
Yes,
hospital care.
yes. I've actually come across like a couple channels that have popped
Yeah,
up in my feed where they do that, and I'm like,
yeah,
what?
and they get covered by the insurance on the cruise ship while they're there. So
hmm
it's win win win. It's better than a gated community with much better services. And anyway, we'll move on.
Lastly, number 10 was specifically designed to
Lawless,
run
baby.
nonstop
Welcome back.
from New York City to Denver, Colorado, a distance of 1,781 miles, and is owned and operated by Coyote Bus Lines. Amazingly, much of the bus was real. Up front was a driving area inspired by an aircraft flight deck. The bus had seating for 2 drivers, and at
It's
first,
got radar.
a full complement of working controls, just like in an airplane. Later on, the front international truck lost its engine and manual transmission, getting a Ford engine and an Allison automatic in its place. In doing the drivetrain swap, the construction team gave the left driver the automatic transmission shifter, but otherwise, the bus was still controllable by both drivers. Another dramatic change up front happened with the front axle. The single front axle of the international donor truck wasn't going to work, so the construction team doubled up the axles and then doubled the tires on them as well. That meant this gargantuan bus had a total of 8 steering tires. A grand total of 32 tires were mounted on the bus at any given time, and there were more available as spares. The bus body was made out of fiberglass, and the articulating section had only a few degrees of rotation.
Are there swingers on the bus?
Was paramount. A
Swingers.
Swingers.
Probably. That's an atomic bus.
Yeah.
You gonna get some glow in the dark cuties?
Some what? Glow in the dark? What?
Cooties.
Cooties?
Yeah. You're gonna have a clinic on the bus?
whopping $500,000.
Cooties.
About $2.7 million in today's
Got it.
money. I just
She's been a sillen penny. She's the queen of the Sunset Strip. Well, if she ever gives you any, you better see your doctor real quick.
Mission. The bus boasted incredibly futuristic and luxurious features. These included an automatic tire changer that permitted the replacement of a wheel as
I
the bus
mean, I would be on the bus.
the defective
I don't
unit
know if I'm a hot
side
chick.
road. There was also an automatic window washing system that could be operated as the bus traveled, allowing guests on board the perfect view at all times.
What is that?
Which in reality were
These are scenes from the movie. In that case, there was some disaster going on with the
Oh,
pool up top, and Bubbles got involved. And next thing you know, they're
I'm gonna
uh,
have to watch the movie now.
I probably haven't watched it since I was 8. It's just I
I've
remember
never
it
heard of it.
being.
That was
I've got a whole shit ton of DVDs in there, and I'm almost certain that one's in there. I am positive I took it from the video store. I don't know if it made it in the transfer from Pops to here. So it's either here or it's in the garage out of Pops.
I mean, I wasn't even a thought when this movie came out, so
Me neither.
simulated. Amenities
No,
ranged
this
from
is
an
like nukes on a bus.
Asian-style bar in the lounge over the cockpit, which was actually real, to a bowling alley, a pool, a bicentennial-themed
Dumb
stateroom,
and Dumber.
full-size restaurant, most of which were filmed on a soundstage, as was the passenger section. But the most impressive aspect to Cyclops was the nuclear turbine engine, which allowed it to travel without stopping to refuel on its route from New York City to Denver. Additionally, the name Cyclops was derived from the giant extra driving light at the center front of the bus. All filming took place in Los Angeles, and in reality, the furthest the bus traveled was San Diego on a promotional run. Unfortunately, Cyclops was scrapped shortly after the movie wrapped up production. While no MC-8 or Eagle 05 at the time could claim the features just described, at least one bus did, and it was Cyclops.
No, you fit in right. It's the naughty corner.
It is
You're
the
good.
story of the coyote.
All right. Now, this how you gonna bowl on a moving bus?
Right. Well, and I mean, a moving bus in a pool. I mean,
That's like
it'd
having
be
a
like
mini
a wave pool, I would think.
Well, I mean, okay, pool, sure, whatever. I've filled up the bed of my truck. I know how that shit rolls. Listen, what I'm saying, all you need is a tarp and a little bit of plastic. It's all like
Yeah.
Donkey Kong. You can
Yeah.
chill like be chilling like a villain, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure you get somebody trustworthy behind the wheel, because otherwise you're losing all your water and half your people. They don't hold it tight.
I mean, if you
Stripper
had a
poles.
stripper pole in the pool, I mean, you could get a lot more action. I'm just saying. Or I should say some biggins could get more action. I don't know.
Cyclops 180, one of the most wackiest and nuttiest buses ever. And it really ranks up there with the Paris City Rama bus, but for different reasons, of course. Now, a couple of more things I just wanted to add. At the end of the movie, Trailways Bus Company, which was a large American intercity bus carrier, was credited with their help and technical assistance in creating Cyclops and the production of the movie, although it's been unclear as to exactly what assistance they provided in building Cyclops or producing the movie. And I'm just going by the Bus World article because it appears that the bus was actually built at Paramount. And secondly,
All right, dude, you lost me. All right, this is actually the bonus track. I don't even remember if I linked this one in the
Yeah, you did.
in the description. I did.
Yeah.
Okay, so how much money did Joe Biden spend on his campaign
I
when he
have
beat
no
Trump?
idea. I have no idea.
Boatloads. I think it was something like $785 million, something like that. Kamala Harris spent 1.2 billion
Mm-hmm.
and lost. Now, was all of that money donations? Was it all Pack Blue stuff? Was it all I don't know. I wonder how much of it was borrowed and now has to be paid back, because there's some kind of weird things going on in the back halls of Washington. She's been kind of shuffled off to the side corridors hardcore. Anyway. Undoomed is a content creator on YouTube. He has a better voice than I do, I think. And he does these, it's not always political. It's usually somehow like culture war type stuff, which has a heavy political crossover. But when I was looking through at the different autopsies of the Kamala campaign, I came across this one, and I can't find but a couple of places where I don't necessarily disagree. I think there's just more to it, right? And I agree with the premise, but then there's more than he's saying. I think he's saying a lot by not saying stuff. Anyway, we'll see. Undoomed, folks.
The next president of the United States.
Diggins.
In my humble view, lights out.
You wrote Trump is toast. Do you stand behind that today?
Oh, even more so. I feel the same way that I
This aged badly.
Is toast.
Kind of like a glass of milk in the Texas sun, bro.
I've never seen
Yeah.
Be tied on election day, as always. It will. The polls will be tied, and then he'll lose.
I think she's going to win.
I think it's going to be a blowout, actually. I don't think it's going to be a close race.
That one was just crazy.
You know, all right. You know, with all the effort out here people are spending to go viral, every single one of these people that did this were thinking about the purple-haired chick sitting on the White House on the monument steps.
Yeah.
The most memes lefty in history.
I will burn this whole place to the ground. You voted for a racist, a rapist, a dictator. You voted for a bully, a bigot, and a narcissist. Who the fuck is voting for him?
What we did not have is white women who voted.
Over half, more than half, voted for him. So,
Of white women?
pretty much most demographics.
Oh, got you.
That's the only way to win. There may be a few exceptions mixed in there. I mean, I don't know exactly how the female Chinese immigrant population voted,
Right.
but
No, I got you.
half.
Voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump, uneducated white women. That kind of extreme, sort of extremist, right-wing, fascist type government. You may not.
Rights tomorrow. What's happening?
We might have what?
I worry about my children.
Bitch, they're taking your rights now. What are you talking about?
Has less rights than I have.
Authoritarian.
What rights?
Just like regular rights, like our, you know what I mean?
Oh, you mean just
Our-
normal cops, like just everybody? Yeah. No, okay.
Yeah.
You were fixing to have a conversation, and I didn't.
No. Oh, no, yeah. I mean, I did a show on that whole freaking, what was it, S8 or I don't know, that whole movement. Yeah.
4B or not
4B there, yeah.
whatever it is.
2B, 4B. Yeah.
Fuck you. I don't want
Your
to
mama.
hear about how shitty your life gets under his policies.
Regulate social media.
How fucking dare you?
Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to give Kamala Harris's presidential
You were talking shit on the other freaking AI voice, and you got
This
this
isn't an
one?
AI voice. This is a person.
Well, this I don't like it. Go ahead.
Let it tingle.
Protecting a roadkill skunk. Her campaign was like a spaceship with no fuel. It looked good on the launch pad, but it wasn't going anywhere. It was like the political equivalent of a rogue planet. No sun to guide it, no path to follow, just drifting aimlessly in the political void like a turd in a zero-gravity toilet.
Like a turd.
All right, let's crack this sucker open and dive into the autopsy. First of all, let's talk.
All right, the Biden connection. So the primary issue I think that at least some, if not most Americans had with the way Kamala's campaign went, because just right out of the box, the fact that she didn't throw her hat in the ring at the DNC until like the very last second, when suddenly Biden pulled out, they didn't have a nominee. Here, Kamala, you take the reins. And I don't see that winning under any circumstances, regardless of how you try to pull it off. So I think it was lost before it was started. The Biden connection.
Talk about the Biden connection. Now, I understand that Harris wasn't in charge at the time, but she, if anyone, was in the perfect position to object to any policy she didn't agree with as vice president. Add to that she's basically said that she wouldn't change any actions of the Biden administration, and it becomes clear that she bears some responsibility for the Biden administration's many missteps, whether she likes it or not. It certainly rubs off on her, and it sticks to her like stink on cheese. So let's go over some of the things on during Biden.
cheese. Bacon on cheese. A little bit of Gouda. Want some sister along with that butter.
Tenure. President Biden, along with Vice President Harris, presided over some of the worst instances of government overreach in living memory, namely the way the pandemic lockdowns were handled. At the same time as liberties were being curtailed and normal people were subsisting for months on a paltry handout of a few $1,000s, millions of dollars were handed out like candy.
Pendar, welcome in.
BP loans,
Hey, Pendar.
most of which were later forgiven. People who were suspicious of Big Pharma were treated like criminals and were mercilessly vilified by both the Biden administration itself and the media. People lost their livelihoods, and Democrats basically spat on them. In fact, polls showed that half of Democrats supported putting the unvaccinated in camps.
Don't let that sit there. Who are they interviewing? Who's answering these questions? I don't want none of y'all in camps. I've read about the camps, all the camps, even the Japanese camps we did in World War II. They weren't great, bro. I mean, most of those people went there voluntarily because the government was like, "Hey, you know, you're of Japanese descent. It's kind of weird. We're at war with the people." And they were like, "Yeah, okay. We get free room and board for a while. We'll go set up. It's fine." They didn't like it, but they were asked to do it, and they did it. And a lot of those people ended up being citizens one way or another afterwards. But a whole bunch of them ran off and joined the army. So yeah, I got no hate for none of these people, but nobody wants to be in camps, FEMA or otherwise. Nobody nowhere. Not you, not me, not none of us.
And these are the guys who lecture you on fascism. Additionally, Biden's handling of the Ukraine situation certainly leaves a lot to be desired. I'm not saying the Ukraine doesn't have the right to defend itself. It certainly does. But the Biden administration has consistently failed to explain to the American people why America has to pay for this war, particularly since Ukraine is not a member of NATO. What is the point of having a military alliance if we're also going to defend countries?
As an observation, at the beginning of this particular action, there were an awful lot of Russians in Ukraine. Whole bunch. They were like a third of the population identified as ethnic Russians. So it does not look good. That's not a good look. It's not a good look is all I'm saying.
That are not in said alliance. The line should be clear. If you're not in NATO, don't expect us to defend or pay for your war. It's like not having insurance.
What up, Queen Bird?
Still
Welcome
expecting
in.
the insurance company to pay up.
Hey, Queen.
On top of that, the Biden administration also saw record inflation ravaging the economy. It was like watching your savings account shrink faster than a porn star's dignity. And of course, pattern of first denying it and then further gaslighting you by saying it is happening, but it's a good thing. Legacy media, of course, jumped on the bandwagon and started polishing Biden's wrinkled old knob like a $20 hooker. Also, the propaganda clips on social media of the FEMA relief efforts certainly didn't help the Biden administration. Using
Oh my God, are you serious? No. Bro, look, I rode through the middle of Georgia right after Helene. I mean, like, the power hadn't even come on at my house, and I left here to go get somebody that I knew was stuck with no water and no power and no way to communicate. So I drove across state. What are we doing?
Oh, someone was commenting on the tits, so I was caressing them.
Oh, those over there. Yeah, no, they're nice. I was wondering how long it would take somebody to mention it. Of course, it's Johnny Bravo.
Right?
I'm going to give him a participation trophy. Thanks for coming, bud. Come twice just for me.
To move a small log 30 feet seems like a pretty perfect illustration of government inefficiency.
I'm so pretty.
It certainly isn't the biggest point, but I thought I'd mention it. And let us not forget Biden's cabinet of circus clowns, a kleptomaniac crossdresser, power, a high-ranking military fetishist uploading pictures of himself in both military uniform and fetish gear, Senate staffers having sex in the Senate, people on the White House lawn flashing and jiggling their tits, and an obese trainee in charge of healthcare because fuck you, that's why. There are more.
Now, you might not like his voice.
But that was
How do you feel about what he has to say?
no, I like what he has to say.
Right.
More examples, but I'll stop there. And with all
Anarchy
that,
Television, welcome in.
we finally get to Kamala Harris's own campaign. One of the biggest problems with Kamala's campaign was her inability or unwillingness to connect with the working class. In the past, when the Democratic Party still cared about the working class, they had no problems with limiting immigration since it only impacts the working class. They were also for tariffs. Now, however, when Democrats have started thumbing their nose at workers and instead try to appeal only to coastal elites, mass immigration serves as a massive virtue signal to those urbanites, and it doesn't matter how much damage those policies have already caused here, or in Europe for that matter. They now only care about satisfying their donor class in the shape of George Soros and his ilk. Make no mistake about it, when they talk about how only stupid people are voting for Trump and that they shouldn't get to vote, keep in mind that what they actually mean is that poor people shouldn't get to vote.
Anarchy Television,
Another
good to see you.
problem with Kamala's campaign is the tendency to call everyone racists. People just don't respond well to being called names when in fact they are just trying to feed their children. When you're having problem putting food on the table, that's what matters. And being called all manner of pejoratives isn't going to make you any more likely to vote for the ones calling you those things. The same goes for the campaign calling Trump Hitler. Again. All this hyperbolic screeching about how Trump will enact a fascist dictatorship rings particularly hollow, seeing as how we've already been through a term with him. People know what to expect, and they're just unable to reconcile reality with what Democrats and the media are telling them. Seriously, how many times can you cry wolf before people stop caring? Then we get to the campaign's inability to connect with the male demographic. Instead of trying to understand what men are going through and why they're not connecting with Kamala's message, they just tried to shame men into voting for her with cries of sexism and toxic masculinity. Why they expected that tired strategy to work this time when it's been tried and failed so many times, I will never know. But it's clear that this was yet another strategy that did more harm than good. Besides, no one can shame anyone in the privacy of a voting booth. Another thing that really undermined the campaign was leaning into identity politics so much. No one cares about your identity politics. No one chooses their president based on checking a box for first Indian woman or first black woman or whatever. One thing.
It's the economy, stupid.
For me, Kamala Harris consistently failed to present what her policies were.
All right. So during the height of the whole election cycle, like 30 days from the election night, me and Juicy J from Juicy J's Hot Topics, we sat down and we broke apart one of Kamala's speeches. And we both ended up completely drunk and baffled. Because we did a drinking game. I don't know. I think it's on his channel. I hope it's still up. But anyway, we did a drinking game where we took a drink every time she laughed inappropriately. There were only twice when she laughed that we didn't deem it to be inappropriate. And we never made any sense out of any of it. It was the we did two clips. There was one when she did the Detroit rally and she was in front of the buses and she sang the stupid song.
Oh yeah.
And then the other one was from I think a North Carolina rally where it was supposed to be like 2 hours and she left after 20 minutes. She just came in, delivered her little word salad speech and left. Anyway.
Questions in interviews are answered either by word salad or by not answering at all. choosing instead to go off on some irrelevant tangent about how I was raised middle class, or the politics of joy, whatever the hell that means. As vice president, Harris was, of course, on the hook for the Biden administration's performance, including economic challenges, immigration issues, and public perception of the administration's accomplishments. However, while it's natural for a vice president to stand by her boss, so to speak, as a presidential candidate, she should have said what she would have done differently.
Dude, used to play a drinking game to the TV show Jericho every time a conversation takes place at gunpoint. Some episodes were just brutal.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the same way about The Walking Dead. What was it? It didn't catch. It was Black Summer. There's a series on Netflix called Black Summer, and it did not go well for the series because there was a couple of reasons, but the reasons it didn't go well are the reasons why I liked it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So instead of following a hero through her adventures and yada yada, this one follows 8 or 10 people in the first episode that all die. 10 or 12 in the second that all die. It goes from one survivor to the next where they meet the survivor, and then the one they've been following dies, and camera continues with the new survivor. And it starts on the afternoon of the outbreak. And I think the name of it is Black Summer, and it's pretty freaking cool. But if you decide to do a drinking game where involving zombies, that one is going to kill you because they're everywhere. Like, it's wild. They're fast zombies too. I don't like it.
And one thing that she would have changed if she were president instead of Biden. For fuck's sake, what did she want to do with her presidency? Nobody knows. She clearly should have thrown Biden under the bus, so to speak, like every other vice president running for office. A clean break would have served her well, and I'm sure even Biden would have understood. Harris did not successfully connect with key demographic groups, particularly the working class, like I've said before, and those in swing states. Her campaign's focus on attacking Trump's character rather than presenting a robust, appealing platform or addressing voter concerns directly was a serious misstep. She didn't really have an actual political campaign. She wasn't campaigning for anything, only against something.
Exactly. I said that 100 times during the election. The problem is she's not platforming for something. She's platforming essentially for 4 more years. That's what she's saying, not actually saying it. But she is platforming specifically against Orange Man Bad. And this is not a society where we vote against people. We vote for heroes. We vote for leaders. We don't vote against people just because they're bad, naughty people. This is the same country that elected Ulysses S. Grant, madam.
Right.
Consider that. Think that shit through for a second. Homie ran the bloodiest campaign in the history of America all the way up until the end of like Desert Storm. And they elected him president. So, like, hold your balls, folks. It's rolling.
That's no way to win, and no amount of celebrity endorsements is going to change that, or feed your kids. All she had were scare tactics, insults, and platitudes. Most people would be hard-pressed to name anything Kamala Harris actually stands for. Her only selling point seems to have been, "I'm not Trump," gimmicks, and celebrities. People don't care about that. They care about inflation, crime, immigration, taxes, and so on. Furthermore, it certainly didn't help that they trotted out Liz Cheney as a supporter of Kamala. What on earth were they thinking? She is the exact type of warmongering neocon that neither side's like. It's quite baffling. It's like banging your head against a wall to cure your headache. Moreover, it was certainly a mistake for her to not go through a proper primary. Now, there's really nothing Kamala Harris could have done about that, of course. Biden is clearly to blame for that.
That wasn't her fault.
He should have stepped aside much sooner, and unfortunately for Harris, this had a huge impact on her campaign. Not having a clear mandate from the Democratic base and the merit of being the last person standing clearly hurt her credibility. Another thing that hurt Kamala was the assassination attempts on Trump. Sure, there's nothing she could have done to mitigate that either, but seeing as how momentous those events were, I figured it would be negligent to not mention them. Next, we have 3 minor points. First, Peanut the squirrel and Fred the raccoon. Now, this might be a silly point.
All right. I'm not sure how much this type of stuff affected the election.
Mhm.
But the Harris campaign hugely fumbled the ball on how to react to this type of memeing, right?
Mhm.
They tried to like strike back at it and say it's a type of harassment rather than trying to lament the death of some dear pets, right?
Right.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's wild. That there, you even have to have it explained to you why 2 fuzzy animals that got killed by the state is a problem. And then to mishandle it so horribly after understanding the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And
because keep in mind, it really didn't have anything to do with her, but it got smeared on her.
Not saying Kamala bears any direct responsibility for this, but the enormous government overreach of storming a guy's house and killing his pets for no reason in a deep blue state certainly left a stain on her nonetheless. The government going full SWAT on a guy's pets doesn't exactly scream compassionate leadership, particularly if it happened just days before.
I want you to read what's at the top of the screen.
Voter is faced with the choice of either voting, which makes him a master of others, or what is that? Abstaining, which makes him abstaining, which makes him a slave to those who do vote.
And democracy is 2 wolves and a sheep deciding what's for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Another way to put it is democracy is the method by which the majority disenfranchise the minority.
For the election. The second minor point is Kamala's husband and the mainstream media's refusal to report anything about his ex coming out and accusing him of domestic violence. Again, this isn't something that one can fault Kamala for, but it rubs off on her anyway. People still remember how the media censored the Hunter Biden laptop story, which turned out to be true. And if this domestic violence story is true, then it throws her ability to be a good judge of character into question. I certainly don't know if this had any effect at all, but I'm guessing it rubbed at least a few people the wrong way. The third minor point is Kamala's old statements from previous primaries that came back to haunt her like a bad ex-boyfriend. For instance, her support for providing sex change surgeries for prisoners and letting biological males into women's prisons. Sure, she didn't actually push these ideas in this election as far as I know, but voters can and will judge a candidate on the totality of their character, including any past actions that they may have disliked. Another more important point that may have hurt her was her unwavering support for Israel. Now, this is certainly no different than Trump's position, who stands by Israel as well. But I suspect that this stance made many young voters stay at home playing video games instead of voting. Hey, Undoomed, you incredibly handsome yet humble man, I hear you say. What about the debate? Well, truth be told, I don't think it made much of a difference. Those who were convinced stayed convinced.
You want to wrestle? Yeah, that was interesting. Hey, wow, this is getting serious. Chopped onions, celery is going bad.
Those who were unconvinced stayed unconvinced, and those who were undecided stayed undecided. Everyone knew what to expect, and that's precisely what they got. Harris simply performed as well as her campaign could have hoped for, so I don't really think it changed anyone's mind. Then we get to the biggest blunder of all. It was a catastrophic, career-ending, criminally stupid mistake for Kamala Harris to decline to go on Joe Rogan, the biggest podcast on the planet, which also happens to speak directly to men. The one group she desperately needed to convince. That's like refusing to eat because you're on a diet in the middle of a famine. Instead of podcasts and shows that no man would ever be caught dead watching. I cannot stress enough what a disastrous miscalculation this was. But who knows? Maybe her handlers were so scared of what her performance would be like that they bought. She would have just rambled incoherently and evaded questions for 3 hours and made it even worse. Maybe they were right. Anyways, I hope Democrats learn from this. Competition is good both for business and politics, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't. I wouldn't be surprised if their internal election autopsy concludes that they need to lean even more into identity politics, that they didn't go far enough left, that it's somehow the voters' fault, that the voters are racist.
That's the biggest problem I have with the conversations that I've been having with like hardcore left-wing Democrats, like the identity politics people, the DEI people, those people. They are not blaming themselves. They do not blame their campaign. They do not blame their choice of sponsor. They don't blame. No, you're the problem because you're a racist bigot. You refuse to do the logical thing and vote for someone you didn't agree with.
Yeah, no.
No, I've had that conversation like out loud with the cognitive dissonance sitting right in front of us, wiggling around. I'm like, it's right there. Don't you see it? I don't see anything, but it's right there, dude. Like, how can you say that sentence and this sentence in the same sentence? I don't get it.
I don't get it.
And if they just blame and villainize the voters harder, they'll change their mind. We'll see. But I'm not holding my breath.
But I'm not holding my breath.
Right? Because I mean, we've all talked to some of these people, and even you Democrats out there know that guy that you think's completely nuts, but he votes Democrat, right? We know that guy we think's pretty completely nuts, but he votes Republican. Okay.
Okay.
It's all right. Do the thing.
It's that time, guys. Thanks for coming and hanging out on the Naughty Corner Tuesday. Yeah.
So I got a question for you. Are we sticking around to do some StreamYard paneling, or are we just going and I'm getting something to eat?
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to get something to eat too.
We're going to get something to eat. I got you, boo.
She sent us to the naughty corner. I just made a joke. She sent us to the naughty corner. Wasn't even woke.
Go to the naughty corner right. Where's my shoe? Go to the naughty corner right now.
Party in the naughty corner. It's the place to be. Party in the naughty corner. She threw away the key. Party in the naughty corner. We can never leave.
Laughing at me at the same time. What are you two laughing at? Because both of you can go to the naughty corner right now. There's room for both of you now.
Again to the naughty corner. I just called Will's name. Again to the naughty corner. I am not to blame.
Larry, go to the naughty.
Go to the naughty corner. Amara screamed at me. Go to the naughty corner. Carrie laughed at me. Party in the naughty corner. It's the place to be. Party in the naughty corner. She threw away the key. Party in the naughty corner.
Go to the naughty corner right now.
All right. If you're interested, you could come over to my stream where we're going to talk about